All right. Welcome, folks. Good Mayed. A wonderful intermediate days of Sukkot. Let us continue the celebration with learning the Mimer, learning the Hasidic discourse. So just a brief review. In Sukkot you shall dwell, in the transcendence, dwelling in the transcendence is what the verse says. So first there has to be transcendence. That's the Sukkah. It's transcendent, right? Metaphorically and physically. That's what it is. It's transcendent. Specifically, it's the schach. And that transcendence begins already in Rosh Hashanah because we have 100 sounds of the shofar, 60 tekiyas, 20 shvarim, and 20 teruos, the different sounds of the shofar, which spell the word schach. Schach is Samach is 60, Chaf and Chaf is 20. That gives you 100 altogether, also broken down. So what Sukkot does is take from the days of awe that God's is not as palpably present, shall we say, in a revealed manner. And we reveal, in many different ways this expresses itself, but the difference between sounds of the shofar and the physical schach. One is more revealed, if you will. So Rosh Hashanah is revealed in Sukkot, and the transcendence of Rosh Hashanah, which is days of awe, is now reflected and brought down and revealed in the schach of the Sukkah, the main part of the Sukkah, as it is on its own. Now, that's the Sukkah. That's the first thing that's built. It's the first mitzvah. And the mitzvah is to dwell, meaning to bring the transcendence should be internalized, which is a paradox, because transcendence usually means beyond us. Right? Faith is transcendence, but it should be internalized. And we have this playing out also at the last days of the holiday, which is called Shmini Atzeres, the 8th day. That's called a stop. 8th stop. 8th represents something beyond the 7-day cycle. So that's also transcendence of creation. Creation is created in 6 days, God did. And the 7th day, right, he stopped from his usual routine of doing, which was through his word, and now it comes actually from thought, right? Metaphorically, from a higher place, a deeper place within the divine creation comes from. So the 8th day is transcendence, and then we bring it in, internalize it with the term is the 8th stop. Stop is a so it's a one stop that we internalize, the one day stop that we internalize our um, essential bond and connection with God. Anyways, that's now to bring and to internalize the transcendence is really through the lulav and esrog. Because the lulav and esrog, 4 different species, and sometimes we use the metaphor of the 4 species, meaning um, 4 different people, 4 different types of Jewish people, and we have to unite them all. But here it's the metaphor is that each of the species is showing unity. We have the lulav that it has each leaf is a dual leaf, right? They're connected by the spine. If it's split, it's not. If it's split more than half, it's not valid. At least on the first day. We have the hadassim that grow on the same circumference, showing unity. The 3 leaves have to grow on the same circumference. Aravas, they grow in bunches, also bringing out unity. The concept of unity is to internalize something that's beyond you. To be unified with something, it can't be beyond you, because if it's beyond you, you didn't internalize it. Unity has to be something internalized. Unity between the Jewish people, unity with God, unity of purpose. Unity means that you're one with whatever you're united with. Means it's internalized. It can't be beyond you. It could begin something that's beyond you, but it has to be brought into the heart. And it's when we go into all directions with the lulav of the 4 species, and we shake it and then bring it into our heart. Right? Ch, 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 ch. Bring it into our heart to internalize. So what really reflects this idea of you being united and internalizing a unity is the esrog. The esrog from the citron fruit, it grows in every season, in the hot and cold season. Now, not cold season, that's freezing cold. It can't grow. But in Mediterranean climate, in Israel, for example, and other places, it will grow from all seasons. That's an important metaphor, as most vegetation or fruits will grow in a particular season. Right? Wheat will be in the spring. Other things will be in the late spring or summer. Some will be in the fall. Right? Now it's apple season. It's in the fall. Everything has its season, which here, the esrog growing, thriving in all seasons, that's a concept of unity. You have to be really connected within yourself, really connected, that whatever's thrown your way, extreme cold, not extreme cold, cold and heat of life, and you grow from it. That's taking and internalizing the oneness of God and living with that. That's what the esrog represents. How do you do that? You have to have very broad. You have to have a very thick bandwidth of Das. Das is knowledge. Das is connection. Adam knew Eve. Right? We translate it as knowledge. The idea of Das is that you're very connected with the idea, the teachings, the message. You internalize it. You internalize it, right? Boy, that's not easy to internalize something, an experience, in a way that you thrive from it. You hear that? That's what the esrog is. And that's what the four species represent, internalizing some, life in such a way that from everything you grow. The key to that is Das. We learned that in chapter 3 of Tanya. This is connected now to the unity of the Jewish people. If you can personally thrive on everything in life, right? Then this will connect to the unity of the Jewish people, which is also the idea of the sukkah. The sukkah is, think of it potentially, the second night of Sukkot had in our sukkah, the architect, the designer of all the renovations that we've done here in Chabad Zichron Kadeshim in Chazak. So said, George, you have the next job. The next job is you got to make a sukkah to be large enough. Oh, excuse me. Has to be large enough that you could that we could fit the entire Jewish people in it. That's pretty awesome, right? So the Talmud says it's fitting that the entire Jewish people should fit in one sukkah. The tall ones, the short ones, the smart ones, not so smart ones, the ones full of mitzvahs, the ones who don't have so many as many mitzvahs, the ones who are Hasidic, the ones who are not Hasidic, the ones that are like this and like that. All the different types and stripes of Jews are fitting to be under one sukkah. Why? Because what is the sukkah? Is the makif, the transcendence. The light of God transcends us all, right? The source that we come from, God, transcends us all, and therefore unites the entire Jewish people. Right? Similar, we had that experience, similar to the Ananei Kavod, the clouds of glory that protected the entirety of the Jewish people. All sorts of people, Jewish people in the desert, 40 years in the desert that they were going through. The Ananei Kavod protected them. That's one of the explanations, or a major, actually. The verse says, why do you sit in a sukkah? Because I sat you in sukkahs 40 years in the desert, which means two explanations. One's literally, that they had habitation in the desert for 40 years. And the other explanation is that there was the clouds of glory that protected them, that encompassed them, and because it was encompassing light of God, it protected. A good moed. Yeh minyan b'ezrat Hashem. Right, so that transcendence of the clouds of glory protected the Jewish people. Well, that same transcendence of the sukkah was what unites us all. Similar to these clouds of glory. Excuse me, in such a manner that it made us like one people, one person, even, if you will. That's what it means. You should, in Sukkot, dwell in the transcendence. You should dwell. How do you dwell? Well, the way you normally live. The way you live in your home, that's how you should dwell in a sukkah. You normally eat your food in the house, eat it in the sukkah, right? What you do in the home, that's what you should do in the sukkah. So just as the encompassing light of that encompasses all of the Jewish people as one, from the heads of the tribes, from the leaders all the way to the water carriers and the wood choppers. So likewise, the entire Jewish people, especially because the entirety of the Jewish people needs to be our engagement during Sukkot is in the Sukkah. And so it means to dwell in the Sukkah means not just to dwell as you normally eat in the home, so we eat now in the Sukkah, but you should dwell in the idea that you should internalize, right? And we need to bring the transcendence and bring it into an internalized manner in order that we should know that we have to bring this, that we should have an awareness and appreciation. And what is that awareness and appreciation? Where's that to go to? Here, we'll continue this thought tomorrow. All right, folks. Commissioner Rashi will come because it's Chol Hamoed. We have Hallel, we have Torah reading, uh, we have Musaf. So we'll probably get here probably closer to 9 o'clock. Okay.